adopted sister threw my science trophy at my head, screaming, "You don't deserve this," and poisoned my food for getting into college. When I begged my mom to help, she said, "Don't display achievements where Chloe can see them," and later snapped, "If you want what's best for your sister, you'd help her heal." I didn't say a word. That was 8 years ago. This Thanksgiving, she stood on my lawn, screaming that I'd traumatized Chloe all over again. In my family, we were taught that love meant watching my adopted sister Chloe destroy my achievements while screaming, "You don't deserve this," and then forgiving her without an apology. You see, my sister Chloe is now 24, and we adopted her when she was 15 from foster care. When I was 16 and Chloe had just joined our family, I won the regional science fair. I wanted her to be my best friend, so she was the first person I told. Her immediate response was to grab my medal trophy and throw it directly at my skull. "You don't deserve this," echoed through the house before she crumpled to the floor. As my mom stared at me, curled into a ball and crying, she reminded me that it was all my fault. Don't display achievements where Chloe can see them. This set the tone for the next 8 years of my life. It wasn't until one perfect afternoon last spring that the tone was broken, because that's when I got the Johns Hopkins acceptance letter. A lifetime of academic pressure, imposter syndrome, crying into textbooks, all led up to that one moment. I called friends, posted the acceptance, and looked at Baltimore apartments. I was just Mia, not Chloe's trigger, not the family sacrifice, just a future doctor planning her escape, until my mom came home and found me celebrating. "This is wonderful. We need to plan how to make this work." She smiled like she was saying something nice, but her eyes said otherwise. And after an hour of fake niceness, the truth leaked out. "Of course, Chloe will need to come with you. Baltimore has excellent trauma programs, and she can't handle you leaving. I'll help with rent if you get a 2-bedroom. Chloe, in my apartment, with access to my medical equipment, my study materials, my future. Mom, you know what happens when she sees me doing well. She hasn't had an episode in months," she lied, as if Chloe hadn't destroyed my MCAT prep books last week. "If you want what's best for your sister, you'd help her heal." The thing about Chloe's past is that Mom told me the story constantly. Chloe was the scapegoat in her foster family. Nothing violent, just 1,000 small cruelties. No birthday presents while the bio daughter got parties. Hand-me-downs while the other girl got new clothes. Report cards ignored while bees got celebrated. "You don't deserve nice things" became their catchphrase. Now Chloe was making it mine. She was stronger, colder, and tougher than me, but even she had an Achilles heel. And that was her predictability. 10 minutes of staring meant destruction was coming. 15 minutes meant total annihilation. Hide anything that matters. Never celebrate where she can see. But medical school can't hide 4 years of achievement. I remember being 18 when Chloe found my college acceptance letters. I didn't find out until I was sitting at the kitchen table, because that's when I noticed a faint white powder in my food. I knew from the smell that it was rat poison. "What the F, you crazy bitch," I exclaimed, pointing my fork at Chloe. Chloe just cackled like a maniac, while my mom lectured me about how I shouldn't brag and the importance of being humble. That was the moment I realized my mother wasn't denying the pattern, she was protecting it. I told Mom no, that Chloe wasn't allowed to be anywhere near my dorm, but she could visit Baltimore, FaceTime me all the time, and I'd come home for holidays. I even offered to research trauma programs near home. "Then I'm not helping with any school expenses," Mom snapped. "Fine, I'll take out more loans," I responded with a sigh. The next 2 months were a living hell. Mom called relatives saying I was abandoning my traumatized sister. She brought Chloe to my pharmacy job to practice separation. Chloe stared at my white pharmacy coat for 10 minutes before knocking over an entire display of medications. "You don't deserve this," my manager asked them not to return. Fast forward to the week before my white coat ceremony. My aunt called me. "Your mother bought plane tickets. She says you can't exclude Chloe from family milestones. She's been staring at your white coat photo online for days." I knew what that meant. Mom had spent 8 years making sure I understood that Chloe's trauma mattered more than my future. Every destroyed achievement had a matching excuse about foster care. But I wasn't a scared, people-pleasing 16-year-old girl anymore. I was a woman who knew my worth, and I was ready to bite back. So I started planning. First thing I did was change the ceremony location on all my social media. Posted about how they moved it to a different building on campus. Then I called the school and explained my situation. The security guard, Douglas, was super understanding. He said he'd keep an eye out for anyone matching their description. I also asked my roommate Patricia to be my lookout. She knew the whole Chloe situation already. The morning of the ceremony, I woke up at 5 a.m., couldn't sleep anyway from nerves. I grabbed my white coat from its hiding spot in Patricia's closet. Yeah, I've been hiding it there for weeks. Learned my lesson about keeping important stuff in my own room. I got dressed in the bathroom with the door locked. Even put a chair against it. Paranoid? Maybe. But you try living with someone who poisoned your food. Patricia drove me to campus early. We took her car because mine was too recognizable. I kept checking my phone. Mom had texted 12 times already. All variations of, "Where are you?" And Chloe is so excited to support you. Support, right. Like that time she supported my SAT scores by ripping up my score report. We parked in a different lot than usual. I walked into the building through the back entrance. Douglas was there like he promised. He gave me a thumbs up. No sign of them yet. I went to the prep room where all the other students were getting ready. Everyone was taking selfies and fixing their hair. Normal stuff. I just sat in the corner, watching the door. My friend Eric came over and asked if I was okay. I told him I was just nervous. Didn't mention that my crazy sister might show up and destroy everything. He wouldn't understand anyway. His biggest family drama was his dad missing his soccer games. Must be nice. About 30 minutes before the ceremony, my phone started blowing up. Mom again. This time with photos. Pictures of her and Chloe at the wrong building. The one I'd posted about online. They were standing outside looking confused. Chloe was wearing this weird formal dress, like she was going to prom or something. Mom's texts got angrier. "Where are you? This isn't funny. Answer your phone now." I turned off my phone. Patricia texted me from her spot in the lobby. All clear so far. The ceremony coordinator started lining us up. Alphabetical order by last name. I was in the middle of the pack. Good. Harder to spot. We started walking toward the auditorium. My hands were shaking. Not from stage fright. From waiting for that familiar screech of, "You don't deserve this." The auditorium was packed. Parents everywhere with cameras and flowers. I scanned the crowd as we walked in. Didn't see them. Maybe my plan actually worked. We took our seats on stage. The dean started his speech about dedication and service. I was barely listening. Just kept watching the doors. Then I saw her. Not Chloe. Mom. She was at the back entrance arguing with security. Her face was red. She was pointing at the stage. At me. But Douglas wasn't letting her in. She didn't have a ticket. See, I'd conveniently forgotten to mention that the ceremony was ticket only. Oops. The dean called my name. I stood up and walked across the stage. Accepted my white coat. Smiled for the official photo. And for the first time in 8 years, I celebrated an achievement without fear. No flying trophies. No destroyed papers. No poison in my food. Just me. In my white coat. Starting my future. After the ceremony, I met Patricia outside. She was grinning like crazy. Told me Mom and Chloe had shown up right after I got my coat. Chloe had apparently tried to rush the stage, but security stopped her at the door. The same security that had kept Mom out. Mom made a scene about discrimination and trauma. Other parents started staring. They left before campus police showed up. I checked my phone on the drive home. 47 missed calls. 100+ texts. The last one from Mom was simple. "Come home immediately. We need to talk about your behavior." My behavior. Not Chloe trying to ruin my ceremony. Not her attempting to poison me. My behavior. I didn't go home. Went to Eric's apartment instead. His roommates were having a party. I wore my white coat the whole time. Took a million photos. Posted them all over social media. Every single one. Because for once, I wasn't going to hide my success. I wasn't going to dim my light so Chloe wouldn't feel triggered. The party lasted until 2 a.m. I crashed on Eric's couch. Woke up to more angry texts. This time from Dad. He usually stayed out of Mom and Chloe's drama, but apparently Mom had worked worked him up. His message was all about family loyalty and understanding trauma. Same script, different messenger. I knew I had to go home eventually. My stuff was there, my car, my whole life really. But I also knew things had changed. I'd stood up to them, hidden from them, outsmarted them, and the world hadn't ended. Chloe hadn't spontaneously combusted from not destroying my achievement. Mom hadn't disowned me yet. Patricia picked me up around noon. We drove past my house first, just to scope it out. Mom's car was in the driveway. So was Chloe's. The curtains were drawn. Looked normal from the outside, but I knew better. Inside was probably a war zone of Mom's guilt trips and Chloe's rage. We parked down the street. I texted Dad that I was coming home. Figured he was the safer option. He responded immediately. Said Mom was at her book club. Chloe was in her room. Coast was clear. Still, I made Patricia come with me. Safety in numbers and all that. The house was quiet when we walked in. Too quiet. Dad was in the kitchen looking tired. He started to lecture me about family responsibility. I cut him off. Told him I was just there to pack some things. His face fell. Asked if I was serious. I said yes. I went to my room with Patricia. Started throwing clothes in a suitcase. Grabbed my laptop, chargers, important documents, the stuff that mattered, the stuff Chloe couldn't replace if she destroyed it. Patricia helped me carry boxes to her car. Dad just watched from the doorway. Didn't help. Didn't stop us either. We were almost done when I heard it. The front door slamming. Mom's voice sharp and angry. Then footsteps on the stairs. Fast. Purposeful. I knew that sound. Grabbed the last box and headed for the door. But Chloe was already there, standing in my doorway, staring at my empty room. Her face was blank. That was worse than anger. She looked at me, then at the box in my hands, then back at my room. The staring had started. I checked my watch. Started counting. 1 minute. 2. Patricia shifted nervously beside me. She'd heard the stories, but never seen it happen. 3 minutes. 4. Chloe's hand started shaking. Here it came. But then something weird happened. Instead of screaming, instead of throwing things, Chloe just turned around and walked away. Down the hall to her room. Slammed the door. Patricia and I exchanged looks. That wasn't normal. Chloe always exploded. Always. Mom appeared at the top of the stairs. Her book club outfit was pristine, but her face was twisted with rage. She looked at the boxes in her hands, at my empty room, at me. What do you think you're doing? I told her I was moving out. Found a place closer to school. Needed to focus on my studies. She laughed. Not a happy laugh. The kind that made my skin crawl. Said I wasn't going anywhere. That family stayed together. That Chloe needed me. I pushed past her with my box. Patricia followed. Mom grabbed my arm on the stairs. Hard. Her nails dug in. Told me I was being selfish. That I was traumatizing Chloe all over again. That good daughters didn't abandon family. I yanked my arm free. Kept walking. Dad was still in the kitchen, staring at his coffee. Didn't even look up as we passed. Mom followed us outside, listing every sacrifice she'd made. Every time she'd chosen us over herself. Every penny spent on therapy for Chloe. We loaded the last box into Patricia's car. Mom stood on the lawn, arms crossed. If you leave now, don't bother coming back for Thanksgiving. I got in the car. Patricia started the engine. As we pulled away, I saw Chloe watching from her bedroom window, just standing there, staring. It gave me chills. Patricia let me crash at her place for a few days. Her roommate Sandra was cool about it. They had a pull-out couch in the living room. Not ideal, but better than home. I spent those days looking for apartments, checking my bank account, doing math on student loans. The texts from Mom didn't stop. They got worse. She'd moved from anger to manipulation. Messages about Chloe not eating, Chloe crying all night, Chloe asking why I hated her. Classic mom moves. I stopped reading them after day 2. But then Dad started texting. That was new. He usually stayed neutral. His messages were different. Worried. Said Chloe was acting strange. Not her usual strange. Different strange. Quiet. Too quiet. Said she'd been in her room for 3 days straight. I almost caved. Almost drove back to check on her. Patricia talked me out of it. Reminded me this was probably another manipulation. That Chloe was 23, not 4. That she had parents to take care of her. She was right. I knew she was right. Still felt guilty though. Found an apartment on day 4. Studio near campus. Tiny, but mine. The landlord, Roy, didn't care about my family drama. Just wanted first month, last month, and security deposit. I signed the lease that afternoon. Finally had my own place, my own space, my own life. Moving in was easy since I didn't have much. Patricia helped me get the basics. Goodwill furniture, dollar store dishes, Walmart bedding, nothing fancy. Nothing that would hurt too much if Chloe somehow found me and destroyed it all. Old habits die hard. I'd been in my apartment exactly 1 week when Dad showed up. Didn't know how he found me. Probably Patricia's social media. She tagged me in a housewarming selfie. Should have known better. Dad looked terrible. Bags under his eyes, wrinkled shirt, very undad-like. He said we needed to talk about Chloe, about Mom, about everything. I let him in because, well, he was still my dad. He sat on my secondhand couch and just started talking. Told me things I'd never heard before. About the adoption. About Chloe's first few months with us. Apparently it was worse than I knew. Chloe had tried to run away 6 times. Had threatened to hurt herself. Had begged to go back to foster care. Mom had hidden all of it from me. Wanted me to bond with my new sister without baggage. So much for that plan. Dad said the therapist had warned them. Said Chloe might fixate on me. Might see my achievements as threats. Might act out. Mom had promised to handle it, to protect both of us. Instead, she'd chosen Chloe. Every time. And Dad had let her. He apologized. Actually said the words. Said he should have stepped in years ago. Should have protected me too. But Mom was so convinced she could fix Chloe. So sure that enough love and understanding would heal her. And he'd wanted to believe it. Then he dropped the real bomb. Chloe had found my apartment. Had been sitting outside in her car for hours. Watching. Waiting. He'd followed her here. Was trying to talk her into leaving. But she wouldn't budge. Said she needed to see me. To talk to me. To explain something. I looked out my window. Sure enough, there was Chloe's hit-up Honda. Parked right across the street. I could see her silhouette in the driver's seat. Just sitting there. Staring at my building. My skin crawled. How long had she been there? How many times had I walked past without noticing? Dad wanted me to talk to her. Said maybe it would help. Maybe she needed closure. Maybe she wanted to apologize. I laughed. Actually laughed in his face. Chloe apologized? In 8 years, she'd never once said sorry. Not for the trophy. Not for the poison. Not for anything. But Dad kept pushing. Said something was different this time. That Chloe had been acting strange since I left. Not destructive strange. Sad strange. Said she'd been going through old photos, writing in a journal, going to therapy without Mom forcing her. I told him no. I was done being Chloe's emotional punching bag. Done hiding my successes. Done living in fear. He could tell her that. He could tell Mom that. I was done with all of it. Dad nodded, looked defeated, said he understood, then he left. I watched from my window as he walked to Chloe's car. Saw him lean in her window, saw her shake her head, saw him try again, more head shaking. Then he walked to his own car and drove away. But Chloe stayed, still watching, still waiting. I tried to ignore her. Made dinner, watched Netflix, did some studying, but I kept checking the window. She was always there. Same position, same car, same stare. It was creeping me out. I thought about calling the cops, but what would I say? My sister is sitting in her car? Not illegal. Around midnight, I gave up trying to sleep. Kept imagining her breaking in, finding me asleep, doing who knows what. So I sat by my window, watching her watch me, like some weird stakeout standoff. Neither of us moving, neither of us backing down. Then I saw her get out of the car. My heart started racing. She was coming up, coming for me. I grabbed my phone, ready to call 911, but she didn't head for my building. She walked to the corner store instead, came back with a bag, got back in her car, resumed watching. This went on for 3 days. 3 days of Chloe in her car. 3 days of me checking windows and locking doors. 3 days of jumping at every noise. Patricia said I was being paranoid, that Chloe was probably just processing, that I should call the cops if I was really scared. But I wasn't scared exactly. I was tired. Tired of running, tired of hiding, tired of letting Chloe control my life even when she wasn't in it. So on day 4, I did something stupid. I went outside, walked right up to her car, knocked on her window. She rolled it down slowly, looked at me with red-rimmed eyes. She'd been crying. Chloe never cried. Not in front of people. Not ever. We stared at each other for a long moment. Then she said something that shocked me. I know what I did to you. Not sorry. Not an apology. Just acknowledgement. I didn't know what to say. So I said nothing. Just stood there in the street, staring at my sister who'd made my life hell for 8 years. Waiting for the other shoe to drop, for the screaming to start, for something to fly at my head. Instead, she reached into her bag. I flinched, ready to run, but she just pulled out a notebook, handed it to me through the window. I've been writing it all down. Everything I remember. Everything I did. Dr. Martinez said it would help. I took the notebook. Didn't open it. Didn't want to see her list of destructions. She kept talking. Said she'd been in therapy twice a week since I left. Real therapy. Not the family sessions mom usually dragged her to. Said she was on new meds. Said she was trying. I wanted to laugh or scream or throw the notebook back at her. 8 years of torture and now she was trying. Now that I'd finally escaped, but I just stood there, holding her notebook, feeling numb. She wasn't done talking though. Never was when she got started. She told me about the foster family, not mom's version, her version. How they'd adopted her first. How they'd loved her for 3 years. How they'd had a biological daughter and everything changed. How "you don't deserve this" became the soundtrack to her life. How she'd believed them. Then she said something that hit me hard. When I saw you with that trophy, happy and proud and deserving, I couldn't stand it. Because if you deserved good things, maybe I was the problem. Maybe they were right about me. I found myself sitting on the curb, still holding her notebook, still processing. She got out of the car and sat next to me, not close, a careful distance, like she was afraid I'd run, or maybe afraid she'd hurt me again. We sat there in silence for a while. Then she told me about the past week, how mom had been calling her constantly, telling her I'd abandoned them, telling her to go get me, to make me come home, to make me understand family. But for the first time, Chloe had said no, had hung up on her, had blocked her number. That's why she was here. Not to drag me home, not to destroy my apartment, but to warn me. Mom was planning something, had been talking to relatives, gathering allies, planning an intervention. The whole family was supposed to confront me at Thanksgiving, make me see sense, make me come home. She pulled out her phone, showed me the family group chat I'd been removed from, message after message about ungrateful children, about family obligations, about how I was calling mom with worry, about how Chloe needed her sister, Aunt Linda calling me selfish, cousin Eric saying I'd regret this, grandma disappointed in my choices, but Chloe had defended me in the chat, in front of everyone, said I deserved to live my own life, said she'd been wrong to hurt me, said mom needed to let me go. The responses were brutal. Now they were turning on her too, calling her ungrateful, saying I'd brainwashed her. I finally opened the notebook, page after page of memories, the trophy incident in detail, the torn acceptance letters, the poisoned food, but also things I'd forgotten or never knew. Times she'd watched me succeed and felt rage, times she'd planned to hurt me but stopped, times she'd hated herself for hating me. The last entry was from yesterday. Mia deserves everything good. I know that now. I've always known that. I just couldn't feel it before. The meds help. The therapy helps. But mostly, watching her leave helped. She's free now. Free from me. Free from mom. Free to be brilliant. I did one thing right. I let her go. I handed back the notebook. Told her I needed time. Needed to think. Needed to process 8 years of pain. She nodded. Said she understood. Said she'd leave me alone. But first, she had one more thing to say. About mom. About what was coming. About how to protect myself. Mom had been calling the school. Claiming family emergency. Trying to get my schedule. Trying to find out where I lived. The administration hadn't told her anything. But mom was persistent. She'd also been calling my work. Telling them I was having a breakdown. That I needed help. That family was worried. Chloe had screenshots. Messages where mom discussed tactics. How to force me home. How to make me see I was being selfish. How to use Chloe's trauma to guilt me. How to turn the family against me. How to make my life difficult enough that I'd come crawling back. But here's the kicker. Chloe had been sabotaging her. Deleting messages before mom sent them. Giving her wrong information. Telling relatives I'd moved to a different city. Running interference. My destroyer had become my protector. The world felt upside down. She stood up to leave. Said she'd keep warning me if mom escalated. Said she'd try to keep her distracted. Said she understood if I never wanted to see her again. Then she got in her car and drove away. Left me sitting on the curb with 8 years of trauma and one notebook of regrets. I went back inside and called Patricia. Told her everything. She came over with wine and tissues. We read through Chloe's notebook together. Page by page of pain and recognition. Of a girl who'd been taught she deserved nothing, turning that lesson on everyone else. Of my parents enabling it. Of me suffering for it. Patricia asked what I was going to do. About Chloe. About mom. About Thanksgiving. I didn't know. Part of me wanted to forgive Chloe. She was trying. She was changing. She was protecting me now. But 8 years is a long time. And trauma doesn't just disappear with medication and therapy. The next few weeks were quiet. No mom attacks. No family ambushes. Just me, school, and my tiny apartment. I threw myself into studying. First anatomy exam was coming up. I'd always been good at memorization. At focusing. At shutting everything else out. It's how I'd survived living with Chloe. But I kept thinking about her notebook. About her sitting outside for 3 days. About her blocking mom for me. It didn't erase the past. Didn't heal the scars. But it meant something. Maybe not forgiveness. Maybe not friendship. But something. Then Thanksgiving week arrived. The family group chat exploded again. Patricia showed me screenshots. Everyone confirming they'd be at mom's house. Everyone ready to talk sense into me. Everyone sure they could fix this family crisis. Chloe had tried to warn them off. They'd turned on her completely. Mom texted me directly for the first time in weeks. Sweet as pie. Just wanted her baby girl home for turkey. Just wanted family together. Just wanted to talk. No pressure. No guilt. Just love. I knew better. This was her final play. Get me in that house with 20 relatives. Break me down. Bring me home. I texted back that I had to work. Lie. But whatever. She responded immediately. Said she'd checked with my manager. Knew I had the day off. Said lying to family was beneath me. Said dad was disappointed. Said Chloe was devastated. Said I was breaking hearts. Then came the threats. If I didn't show up, she'd come to me. With the whole family. They'd do the intervention at my apartment. In front of my neighbors. In front of everyone. I'd be embarrassed into submission. Classic mom. Public shame was her favorite weapon. I panicked. Called Chloe without thinking. She answered on the first ring. She's serious, Chloe said. I heard her making plans. Aunt Linda's bringing her van. They're going to show up at your place around noon. Make a scene. Force you to listen. I asked why she was helping me. Really asked. Not accusingly. Just curious. She was quiet for a moment. Then said something I'll never forget. Because I spent 8 years taking things from you. Maybe it's time I gave something back. We made a plan. Not together exactly, but parallel. She'd go to Thanksgiving. Play the dutiful daughter. Keep them busy. Keep them distracted. Buy me time to disappear for the day. Maybe they'd give up if they couldn't find me. Maybe they'd realize I was serious. Maybe. Thanksgiving morning, I packed a bag and left my apartment at dawn. Went to Patricia's place. Her family was cool with me joining. Her mom Sandra had heard the stories. Said I was welcome anytime. Said family was about choice, not blood. Made me cry a little. In a good way. I turned off my phone. Didn't want to see the messages. Didn't want to know when they showed up. Didn't want to feel guilty. Just wanted one peaceful holiday. One normal dinner. One day without drama. Patricia's family gave me that. Turkey and stuffing and pie. No screaming. No destruction. No guilt. But I turned my phone on that night. Had to know what happened. 53 missed calls. 100 plus texts. Voicemails I'd never listened to. The last text was from Chloe. They came. They saw you weren't there. They left. Mom's planning something else. Be careful. The next few days were tense. Waiting for mom's next move. Jumping every time someone knocked. Checking windows obsessively. Patricia said I was getting paranoid again. But I knew mom. She didn't give up. She just regrouped. Planned better. Hit harder. Then I got got a call from my academic advisor. Someone had called claiming to be me, said I was dropping out due to family emergency, needed to withdraw immediately. The advisor was confused. I just aced my anatomy exam. Why would I quit now? I told her it wasn't me. She said she'd figured, just wanted to warn me. Next was my landlord Roy. Got a call saying I'd violated my lease, that I'd moved my whole family in, that neighbors were complaining. He'd driven by to check, saw nothing, but wanted me to know someone was trying to get me evicted. I explained about my mom. He said he'd ignore any more calls. Then my job. Someone called in sick for me 3 shifts in a row. Manager almost fired me. I had to show him the family group chat, explain the whole situation. He gave me another chance but said one more issue and I was gone. I started recording everything, saving screenshots, building evidence. Chloe kept feeding me information. Mom had recruited Aunt Linda as her main ally. They were researching legal options, talking about wellness checks, about forced interventions, about getting me declared mentally incompetent. It was insane. I was a straight A medical student, but mom was desperate. I thought about getting a restraining order. Patricia's mom suggested it, but that meant court, meant facing them, meant making it all public and legal. I just wanted to be left alone, to study, to work, to live. Why was that so hard for them to understand? Then came the letters, not emails, actual letters, from every family member, all saying the same things. How I was hurting mom, how I was abandoning Chloe, how I was selfish and cruel and would regret this. Some were handwritten, some typed, all designed to break me down. But Chloe's letter was different. Hidden inside Aunt Linda's envelope, a sticky note that just said, "Stay strong. You're doing the right thing. I'm proud of you." It was the first time in 8 years she'd expressed pride in me, in anything I'd done. It hit harder than all the guilt combined. I decided enough was enough. Changed my phone number without telling anyone except Patricia and my job. Got a P.O. box for mail so they couldn't send more letters to my apartment. Even started parking my car in a different lot every day. Yeah, it was exhausting. But it was better than dealing with mom's escalating crazy. 2 weeks passed without incident. I started to relax a little. Maybe they'd given up. Maybe mom had found a new project. Maybe Chloe had convinced them to back off. I should have known better. Mom was just planning her nuclear option. It was a Tuesday when everything went sideways. I was walking to class when I saw them. Mom, Dad, Aunt Linda, and 3 cousins, standing outside the medical building, holding signs, actual printed signs. Family abandonment is abuse, and Chloe needs her sister. And my personal favorite, shame on MIA. Other students were staring, taking pictures, whispering. I ducked into a side building and called security, told them about the harassment. They said they'd handle it, but I could still hear mom through the window, telling anyone who'd listen about her ungrateful daughter, about poor traumatized Chloe, about family values. I texted Patricia to bring me a hoodie and sunglasses, snuck out the back way like some kind of criminal, missed my anatomy lecture, had to email my professor with some excuse about being sick. He probably thought I was lying. Great, now mom was messing with my academics too. The protest lasted 3 hours. Security finally made them leave when they started blocking doors, but the damage was done. Everyone in my program had seen it, had heard the stories. I went from anonymous student to that girl with the crazy family. Some classmates were sympathetic, others just wanted gossip. That night, Chloe called from a number I didn't recognize, said mom was planning to come back tomorrow with more people, making it a daily thing until I cracked, said she tried to stop her but mom had completely lost it, was convinced public shame would bring me home. I couldn't do another day of that, couldn't have my entire medical career start with being known as protest girl. So I did something I'd sworn I'd never do. I called mom directly, from Patricia's phone so she'd actually answer. The conversation was short. I told her to meet me at a coffee shop near campus, alone, one chance to talk. She showed up with Dad and Aunt Linda. Of course. I almost left right then, but Chloe walked in behind them, saw me, shook her head, mouthed, "I tried," and sat at a different table, close enough to hear, far enough to give space, still protecting me in her weird way. Mom started immediately. How could I abandon family? How could I hurt Chloe? How could I be so selfish? I let her rant for 5 minutes, let her get it all out. Dad occasionally nodded. Aunt Linda made disapproving sounds. I just sipped my coffee and waited. When she finally stopped, I pulled out my phone, showed her the screenshots Chloe had sent, the messages about forcing me home, the plans to call my school, the strategies to make my life miserable. Her face went red. She turned to glare at Chloe, but I wasn't done. I told her about the trophy, the poison, the destroyed books, the years of terror, how she'd enabled it all, how she'd chosen Chloe's trauma over my safety, every single time. Dad looked shocked. Apparently mom had minimized things to him. Aunt Linda tried to interrupt. I kept talking. Then I said the thing that finally shut her up, that I'd gotten into medical school despite her, not because of her, that every achievement she'd forced me to hide had gotten me here, that I was going to be a doctor with or without family support, that I was done being Chloe's emotional punching bag. Mom started crying. Real tears, not manipulation tears. Said she'd only wanted to help Chloe heal, that she'd thought keeping us together would fix everything, that she'd failed both of us. It was the first honest thing she'd said in years. Dad reached for her hand. She pulled away. Chloe stood up then, walked over to our table, looked mom straight in the eye, told her to stop, that she'd tortured me enough, that it was time to let me go, that she was getting help on her own, that she didn't need me to suffer for her anymore. Mom's face crumbled. Aunt Linda tried one more guilt trip, started talking about family loyalty, about forgiveness, about moving forward together. Chloe laughed, actually laughed, asked Linda if she'd forgive someone who poisoned her food, who destroyed her achievements, who made her life hell for 8 years. Linda shut up. I made my terms clear. No more protests, no more calls to my school or job, no more letters or interventions. I'd consider coming to Christmas if they respected boundaries. If not, I'd get a restraining order. Had already talked to a lawyer, was ready to make it legal. Mom nodded, looked defeated. Dad finally spoke up, said he was proud of me, that I'd shown more strength than he ever had, that he should have protected me years ago, that he'd make sure mom kept her promise. It was nice to hear, 8 years late, but nice. He asked if we could text sometimes, just updates. I said maybe. Chloe asked to walk me out, away from mom and the others. Outside, she handed me an envelope, said it was from her therapy fund, money she'd saved from her part-time job, enough to cover what I'd lost from missing work during mom's harassment. I tried to refuse. She insisted, said it was the least she could do. She also said she was moving out, had found a group home for adults with trauma, somewhere she could get intensive therapy, somewhere she couldn't hurt anyone, somewhere mom couldn't use her as a weapon. She'd already put down a deposit, was moving next week. I didn't know what to say. We stood there awkwardly for a minute. 8 years of pain between us, but also something new, understanding maybe, or just exhaustion. She said she hoped I became an amazing doctor, that she'd watch from afar, that she was proud of me. Then she walked back inside. I haven't seen her in person since. The next few months were quiet. Mom kept her promise. No more harassment, no more guilt trips, just silence. Dad texted occasionally, updates about the weather, the dog, safe topics. I responded sometimes, short messages, baby steps. Maybe we'd have a relationship someday, maybe not. I heard about Chloe through Dad. She was doing well at the group home, intensive therapy 3 times a week, new medication routine. Art therapy helped her express feelings without destruction. She'd even gotten a job at a plant nursery. Said growing things helped her understand nurturing instead of destroying. Christmas came and went. I didn't go home. Spent it with Patricia's family again. They'd basically adopted me at that point. Her mom Sandra kept saying I needed meat on my bones. Her dad Juan taught me to play dominoes. It was nice, normal. No one screamed about what I didn't deserve. Got a card from mom. Simple, just thinking of you. Love, Mom. No guilt, no manipulation, just a card. I didn't respond. Wasn't ready. Maybe wouldn't ever be. But I kept it. Stuck it in a drawer with other complicated memories. Evidence that maybe people could change? Maybe. Spring semester started. I threw myself into studies. Anatomy, physiology, biochemistry, the works. Earned top marks marks in everything. Put my white coat photo on Instagram, public, proud, no more hiding achievements. Some relatives saw it, liked it. Small gestures, big meanings, progress. Got a text from an unknown number on my birthday. Just, happy birthday. You deserve all good things. See, I knew it was Chloe. Didn't respond, but I didn't delete it either. Saved it, actually. Proof that the girl who'd screamed, "You don't deserve this," had finally changed her mind. Only took 8 years. Ran into my cousin Eric at the grocery store. He apologized for the group chat messages. Said he'd been wrong. That family pressure made people do stupid things. That he was proud of me for standing up for myself. We grabbed coffee. Caught up. He said mom was in therapy now too. Finally dealing with her savior complex. The 1-year anniversary of leaving home passed quietly. I'd survived. Thrived even. Top of my class. Great friends. Tiny apartment that was entirely mine. No broken trophies. No poisoned food. No one screaming about what I deserved. Just me. Building the life I'd always wanted. The life I'd hidden for so long. Patricia threw me a party. Small thing. Just close friends. But she made a toast that hit me hard. Said I was the strongest person she knew. That watching me break free had inspired her. That I'd shown her what real courage looked like. Not fighting back. Just refusing to play the game anymore. Walking away. Dad called that night. Said mom wanted to apologize. Had written a letter. Asked if he could send it. I said yes. The letter came a week later. 3 pages of mom recognizing her mistakes. How she'd failed me. How she'd enabled Chloe. How she'd prioritized fixing Chloe over protecting me. How sorry she was. I didn't respond to that either. Wasn't ready for forgiveness? Maybe never would be. But I read it multiple times. Kept it with the Christmas card. Evidence of change, of growth, of a family that had finally stopped expecting me to light myself on fire to keep others warm. It was enough for now. Second year of medical school started. Harder classes, longer hours, but I loved it. Every minute. Even the brutal exams. Even the endless studying. Because it was mine. My achievement. My future. No one could throw this trophy at my head. No one could poison this success. No one could tell me I didn't deserve it.